I hope you're taking this in, because I am the guy you're trying to reach.
I have to ask the question, is this policy from the VA or is it statute from Congress?
That is a big step in getting guys like me to trust the VA again.
You're not going to be getting your sex changed at the VA anymore.
That would streamline it so fast, because what about nonprofits for treatments? There's a lot of nonprofits out there that have great treatment programs that are proven to work. You know, like I had mentioned,
Yep.
that's probably the biggest one that I know of that's doing psychedelic stuff. There's Tom Satterley, he's a former Delta guy. He's got the All Secures Foundation, very therapeutic experience. Lots of coaching that's been working. I mean, is there a way where, because it sounds, look, I get it. Like, you guys can't just be like, oh, we're doing Ibogaine treatments now. I realize that's going to be an act of Congress and the Senate or however it works to get that through. But, maybe there's a way where the veteran can look. Maybe there's a voucher program or something where I want to try this nonprofit, and maybe those nonprofits get.
There's some certification. There's something to go through a process.
Some kind of certified from the VA, and the VA says to the veteran, "I'm not going to give you the money, but when you go to vets, when you go to All Secure Foundation, when you go to Veterans Advocacy Services, when you go to any of these nonprofits that are approved, look, you want psychedelic therapy for your traumatic brain injury, we're going to give you the voucher. You pick which nonprofit you want to use it for. And then they email in some kind of a document that says, "Hey, we sent this person down." That would streamline it so fast, because then those nonprofits don't have to focus so much on fundraising, so they can get these guys down there and women down there to do these things or their therapy or their whatever, and then the VA pays that voucher.
Yep.
Is that a possibility?
I think it's a possibility. I think everything for me is on the table right now. And that doesn't mean everything's going to get approved. That doesn't mean that it's going to happen. But for me, I want to say, okay, if we have these possibilities that we're seeing, the mentoring, the counseling, the treatments, especially stuff like that are working. Can we partner with that? Can we, what's stopping me in my organization, either policy-wise or statutory-wise, what the law says I can and can't spend money on that? Because there is some of that, and I'm never going to say there's not. But if it's something we can now try, then I'm going to be looking at this, and we've already started talking to these groups to say, how can that be? I'm going to go to my people and say, tell me what the problem is here. And if the answer is, well, we can do that better in the VA, I'm saying, no. You're going to do what you're doing in the VA, but why can't I have people out here that can go try this? And how do we do it? Tell me, as I've changed my entire general counsel, which, by the way, we have a lot of lawyers. I've changed their whole mindset into say, don't tell me no, tell me how to get to yes. If I'm asking you to get to a problem, you get me to yes, because I'm an attorney as well. I can get you to no quicker than you can. Get me to yes. Get me to a part where I can take what you're giving me. And so I'll go to our health people and say the same thing. Get me to yes. Don't tell me the standard line. Like, we found out something today, we had to go, it happens almost every day. I have to ask the question, Shawn, and this is how it gets very frustrating. I have to ask the question, is this policy from the VA or is it statute from Congress? Because there's a big difference here. Statute from Congress, that's our red line. Okay, I have to operate within the law. Policy I made. I mean, if there's a policy that you can't have ice cream on Fridays, well, we made the policy. Guess what? You can have ice cream on Fridays. I can change that all day long. So we've got to now delineate, because many times in the VA, because they're scared of criticism, they're scared of what members of the Congress or the media or unions or anything would say about them, is that they much rather just say, no, we can't, instead of, well, why? And then if you ask them, well, the law just won't let us do that. Well, policy ain't law. We can change those kind of stuff. So I'm willing to look at it from all angles to see if we can. And if it's treatments, then I think that's where we're going to have to make sure that we're operating, because I can't bypass a law that says I can't do X treatment and just give you money to go do it somewhere else.
I understand
I've got to
that.
work that out in Congress, and that's where folks like you and others that can help me, and also working with Bobby Kennedy over at HHS to get some of this stuff approved in different ways. Having a president, who would be willing to say, look, let's do whatever we can. That's just when it's going to take the push of the veterans to say, these are the things that are working for us. It doesn't work for everybody, but at least for these, it is working.
I hope you're taking this in, because I am the guy you're trying to reach.
Yeah.
And not only would that work with the treatment, but it would also help build the trust back within the VA, because guys like me don't trust the VA. We just don't. Mm-hmm. But we do trust Tom Satterley, who is a retired Delta operator.
Yep.
He's seen it all. He has seen it all. And I know that he has my best interest because he's my friend, or my friend is his friend. And everybody looks up to guys like Tom or Marcus Capone, who's running vets with the psychedelic stuff. It's if the VA can be an interim and say, yes, we're aware of what they're doing. They're on our list. We have a partnership with him. We want you to do that. Here, go.
Yep.
That is a big step in getting guys like me to trust the VA again.
Yep.
And then hopefully all these nonprofits can go away because the problem's solved.
Yep.
And once this shit's all passed through Congress, then we don't even need those nonprofits anymore, because hopefully they all wind up going away because the problem's fixed. But in the interim, it's a great way, one, to get the treatment, two, to build the trust back.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I think that's what I want to look at. That's why I'm out in the field. That's why we're doing things like this. If at times 5 weeks feels like I've been there 5 years, and in 5 weeks I realize, my God, I've been there 5 weeks. Mm-hmm. And going there, and I've had to, in just in that amount of time, we've had to deal with our first start of contract looks where we went through 2% of our contracts, 2%, and found almost 580 billion, 900, a billion and a half, about $1.5 billion that are contracts that were non-mission critical, non-mission essential. That's just in 2%. We've had to deal with that. I've had to deal with the probationary firings, which helped us begin this thing, get started. We're dealing things, and you mentioned it earlier, by the way, we've had the issue of the flags. We've changed that policy so that we're back to one force under the American and POW flag. That's all we're doing. We've took the DEI out. We're doing that today. Even just as we're coming on, we changed the policy on transgender. You're not going to be getting your sex changed at the VA anymore. If you're currently in treatment, we're going to continue that what was started before we ever got there, just as the SecDef did in his side, but because we don't want anything bad to happen to somebody who's under those treatment. But from this point on, we're not changing your sex. We're going to treat you with respect and dignity if you come to the VA for your services, but we're just not going to be participating in changing your sex. That's not what our services are for, and everything that we're taking money-wise away to that would take away from money that I could be spending on something else that are helping vets directly who are not even getting primary health care. That's the things that we're looking at. So we're in the process of doing as much of this as we possibly can, and so we're taking every new idea. I'm taking it back. Our team is starting to process it. And we're working toward this end of making it a much more accessible, much more idea friendly, if you would, VA. That restores trust. I'm hoping that restoring trust in the VA is me using social media in every possible way I can to tell people what's actually going on. And this is that coming on your show, doing other shows, and saying, going into the media and going on and saying, guys, no, I'm not going to let senators lie to you anymore. I'm not going to let union members, I'm not going to let the newspapers and legacy media tell you stories which they, by the way, can't back up. This is what I've been fighting. I know we're getting closer to the target because the flack's getting a lot heavier. Mm-hmm. Because they don't want us on this, Shawn. I mean, think about this. If you redo this and get it done.
No matter where you're watching Shawn Ryan Show from, if you get anything out of this, please like, comment, subscribe, and most importantly, share this everywhere you possibly can. And if you're feeling extra generous, please leave us a review on Apple and Spotify podcasts.